Hey, thank you so much for being here. Welcome to this video of a week of vegan breakfast. I wanted to bring you this video with a little bit of an array of some different brekkie options, ranging from sweet to savory to meal preppable. Yeah, I just wanted to give you guys a really good sort of spread of different brekkie options. One or two of them are ones that require just a little bit more extra time, maybe for an extra special brunch on the weekend or something like that. So yeah, all of the recipes will be down below in the description box. So if you don't catch the measurements or anything that I'm sharing throughout the video, that's totally fine. They're all written below for you to try at home. And if you do, please tag me so I can see your creations. You can comment here on YouTube or tag me on Instagram at ShaktiFresh. I just really want to see what you're making. So yeah, let's just
Imagine, if you will,
make some
sitting
breakfast.
down to your morning coffee, turning on your home computer.
So to start off the week, I made my simple mixed berry smoothie with some oat milk and frozen bananas and frozen mixed berries. This one is really easy to make. I don't make my smoothies super fancy or anything like that. Just keep them to really simple ingredients that you probably have on hand in the pantry. Adding some chia, some hemp seeds with some almond butter, and that's pretty much it. Charlie always comes when I open any kind of jar. Could be the salsa jar, could be the vegan mayo jar. He has to come and see if it's the nut butter jar so that he gets to lick the spoon. That lucky boy. So just blended this on high for about 30 seconds until it was nice and thick and creamy, and just poured it in a reusable jar, one of my favorites from my sauerkraut. And yeah, finished it off with a metal straw, and that was brekkie. Delicious. One of my faves. Next up, I made some blender pancakes, and I used sort of recipes from Amanda Dux and Meg Josephson, two of my favorite YouTubers, and I kind of combined their two blender pancake recipes into this one. So I'm just using some bananas, cacao, some coconut sugar, baking soda, baking powder, cinnamon, and I use spelt flour for the recipe just because I really like the kind of nuttiness that comes with it, but you can definitely just use oats blended in, or another gluten-free flour if you are gluten-free, or just all-purpose flour, and then some oat milk, just a little bit. And then I just blended it in my high-speed blender for a couple of seconds until it was nice and thick, this kind of pancakey batter texture. And then I just cook them on a hot pan with a little bit of vegan butter. And I used a 1/4 cup to measure it out. And once it's nice and bubbly, you want to flip. And now I want to just proclaim here that I am probably the world's worst pancake flipper and just like pancake chef in general. For some reason, pancakes really just are not my forte, but I do love to make and eat them. So this is my solid attempt to make pancakes. And while they might be absolutely ugly, they were honestly super delicious. So yeah, it just takes a little bit of extra time in the morning or late morning to whip these up. Just having that patience to flip, and I also just had a small pan, so I was flipping them one by one. And I topped my pancakes with some delicious maple syrup, as well as some fresh banana slices and some fresh strawberry slices as well, a bit of almond butter, and some hemp seeds sprinkled on top. And those were my blender cacao pancakes. And like I said, not the prettiest stack of all time. Ben said that they looked pretty though, so that was a nice compliment. But they were delicious. They were really delicious. Kind of just tasted like chocolate cake, and yeah, it's definitely a sweeter way to start your morning, which is not always my preference, but I find that using the cacao is less sweet than using cocoa powder. This is the last sweet brekkie of the video, and probably my favorite, to be honest. This lemon coconut Bircher was so good. So I started just with some oats and chia seeds and hemp seeds in a bowl. And then I added a little bit of coconut sugar and some finely shredded coconut. And then I zested an entire lemon, one that came off of our lemon tree. I said in my last video that if something is lemon flavored, then I need it to be really, really lemony. So I used the whole lemon for the zest and the juice as well. And then I just had a tad bit of oat milk left. If I had more, I would have used just oat milk, but I subbed with some common water, which actually makes the oats really nice and fluffy. So up to you. You could use a mix of plant milk and filtered water, Kangen water if you have it. And then I just let that sit to soak up the liquid a little bit. And then I went out to the garden and grabbed some fresh mint to be able to garnish on top of the bowl. This is what the Bircher looks like when it's pretty ready to go. I just gave it a good stir, and the oats and the chia seeds had soaked up the liquid nicely, so it was nice and thick. And I topped my bowl with some sliced banana, fresh kiwi, some strawberry slices, as well as the fresh mint from the garden. Just shredded that on top, along with some pumpkin seeds and hemp seeds, because everything I do has hemp seeds. And this was so yummy. This is so delicious. Looking back at it, I'm like, damn, I need to make that again. For a savory brekkie option, I did this tofu scramble with coconut bacon, and I just started with some shredded coconut in a container with tamari. You could use soy sauce though if you're not gluten-free, and some maple syrup, as well as a few drops of liquid smoke, and then I just shook that up in the container until the coconut was nice and coated. And I ended up cooking these in the air fryer, so they got super duper crispy, slightly burnt, but that's okay. You could just do them in the oven as well if you don't have an air fryer. And then for the tofu, I just patted it down with a tea towel just to remove some of the excess liquid. I don't usually press my tofu for 20 minutes or anything. That's completely up to you if you want to do that. And this is a very coveted chef skill, just crumbling tofu with your fingers. I like mine relatively fine. Some people prefer their tofu scramble a bit chunkier. It's just up to you what you prefer. And then grab yourself an absolutely perfect avocado, slice that up for your toast. And then I just cooked the tofu in the pan with some vegan butter. You could use olive oil or a neutral oil or no oil at all. And then just a bit of turmeric for color and a lot of nutritional yeast. It's my favorite, as well as this egg salt or black salt, kala namak. It just gives it a little bit of an eggy sort of essence. I'm not here to claim that my tofu scramble tastes like eggs or anything like that, but it's just a nice little touch. And yeah, just sauteed that a bit with some salt and pepper, and that was pretty much it. This is a very basic tofu scramble recipe, and I stacked the scramble on toast with some vegan, not mayo, vegan pesto. I'm reading the jar, hello. And just put the sliced avocado on top. And then I dumped the scramble on top of that, as well as some of the coconut bacon and some of my favorite sauerkraut. This is a Moroccan beetroot flavor from Gaga's. They're a local company here in Melbourne. And then I just topped it off with some fresh coriander, cilantro, and some hemp seeds. And this was really yummy too. Sometimes I get a bit fancier with my tofu scramble and I'll make it more of like a veggie scramble with some spring onions and capsicum and that kind of stuff. But for this video, I wanted to just keep it relatively simple, and yeah, this was really delicious. Final brekkie here. This is a white bean shakshuka, and I feel like I've said this about every single one, but honestly, this is so good. I used to love shakshuka pre-vegan days. If you're unfamiliar with it, it's a baked tomato and egg dish, traditionally Mediterranean, Israeli, and it's super yummy, but obviously this one is egg-free. And I seasoned some peppers and onions with smoky paprika, some dried garlic, you could use garlic powder, and a bit of cumin, and just sauteed that up until nice and soft with a bit of olive oil. And then I added about half a can of some organic chopped tomatoes, stirred that through so that they got nice and seasoned, and then I added just some white cannellini beans, about 3/4 of the can, and then I saved the rest of the beans just in a jar in the fridge, and I like to use them just on salads and stuff like that. Some salt, some pepper went in, and then I mixed that all through and just added a little bit of coconut sugar on top just so when it went in the oven it was nice and caramelized. And of course here I'm using an oven-safe pan, so you could use a cast iron or something like that. And I just baked it for 5 minutes and it just got so delicious. And I'm using my favorite vegan sour cream on top. You could also use some coconut yogurt, just some natural plain flavored coconut yogurt would do as well. And then I gave this delicious sourdough a good rip and just dipped it right into the shakshuka, and it was so chewy, this bread. But OMG, my face says it all. This was so yum, and to repurpose the beans, I just blended them into a dip, and it was delish. Thanks so much for tuning in, you guys. See you in the next video.